Hey, it's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com. Really excited today. I have celebrity matchmaker Carmelia Ray with me. She has, you know, when you see someone's biography and you're like, whoa, it's impressive. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a taster of kind of some of the things she's done and give you a flavor of what's coming up. So Carmelia is a celebrity matchmaker. She's been on the Real Housewives of Toronto, on Mom versus Matchmaker. She's a serial entrepreneur and a media contributor. In terms of her expertise, I'm going to read a bit from the bio because these numbers are astounding. So it says, with decades of experience and a tireless enthusiasm for online dating and matchmaking, Carmelia has established herself as the go-to attraction expert when elite singles are ready to find, attract, and connect with Mr. or Ms. Right. In her career, she's helped over 7,000 clients and interviewed, and this number astounded me, over 65,000 singles on improving challenges and successes. It is a lot. It's a lot. So looking at how to date, how to mate, how to relate. And in terms of some of the media contributions, again, it's a very, very long and impressive list, but it includes things like appearing in Ask Men, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, OK Magazine, Global News, Cupid's Pulse, The Marilyn Dennis Show, and now The Marilyn Devonish Show.
Yeah, I gotta add that. Accolades, yeah.
Playback and countless others. So, Carmelia, welcome. Is there anything you want to add to that one, your wonderful biography?
No. Other than I got to add the Marilyn Devonish show to my list. I'm gonna add that to my list. You got to send me your logo.
Absolutely. And one of the things I thought we might do today, because when we were first talking, now one thing I'm going to do before we start, because it's easy to get caught up in everything and then not remember, I just got to say a really big shout out to Paul Carrick Brunson, because I met Carmelia as a result of his show. So on Facebook, it's /Paul C. Brunson. He does the Better with Paul show on a Monday and a Friday. It's incredible. And that's where Carmelia was speaking. And then she said, well, hey, why don't we connect? She made a very great offer about doing a coaching session. So I took her up on that. And that's where we met. So I just wanted to say a shout out to Paul before we get started for making that happen. But what I thought we might do today is we were talking about, well, what do I do and what do you do? And I thought it might be fun to combine business and dating and romance.
Yeah, so, I think they're a natural fit anyway. And they go hand in hand, business and romance.
Wonderful. So what I thought we might do is have a little bit of a play with one of the things I teach, which is photo reading. And there are 5 steps to photo reading. So what I thought we might do is we're going to go through those steps. I'm going to very quickly, in a nutshell, just explain what the step is. And then I'm going to be asking you, can you explain in dating terms how we might go through and do each of those steps? Is that all right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it then. Right. So what we are going to do is, let's actually have a play. Okay, let's do this. So it comes up on screen. So we have step 1, and that is all about getting physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared and ready before we photo read. So it's about getting yourself into an accelerated learning state, getting left and right brain integration going, and also having a clear sense of purpose. So from a dating perspective, if we were thinking about it in those terms, can you share a tip about the best way to prepare for a date?
Well, the best way to prepare for a date is to obviously know what is the date activity, because when you are going out for a date, a first date could be a coffee date. A first date could be a dinner date. It could be a walk in the park. It could be a hike. It could be a board game at a cafe, whatever it is. You always want to dress appropriately for the occasion. And I'll give an example, because, you know, there's all kinds of weather and sometimes the weather's unpredictable. So if you think it's going to rain and you're going to be outside, you know what? Pack that umbrella. If it says the weather's going to get cooler at nighttime and you're having a late night date, pack a sweater, right? Like any time that you can prepare for the activity, because you want to dress for the activity. It would be a little awkward if you were in, your 5-inch heels going for a casual coffee and your ballroom gown. Now, if that's your everyday wear, good for you. But for the most part, it's not. And it's the same where, sometimes people get the experience of being underdressed or overdressed. So you really want to check in with your date, the venue that you're going to. You can always Google, you can look at Yelp. Is this a fancy place? Is it a pizza place? Like, what's the environment like? That way you can dress appropriately. Knowing what you're wearing and dressing for both style and comfort, Marilyn, is important, because oftentimes when people dress for style and they're not dressing for comfort, when they're on the date, they're fidgety, they're wondering how they look. Oh my goodness, is this too tight? Is it too short? Am I showing too much? Like, if you're not clear on what your outfit is, then you can't really be present with the person you're with, because you're too concerned about your attire. And that goes the same with your hair or your makeup or whatever it is that might be bothering you. Make sure you eliminate any of those dressing concerns or being rushed because you planned the date at 6, you get off work at 5:30 and you've got to go drive. Now there's 45 minutes of traffic. So that's the other thing, is making sure that you're prepared to arrive on time and that you're not planning a date in between picking up the kids at soccer and dropping off your dry cleaning and doing something for your boss. Like, a lot of times people cram in all these activities and then you show up half frantic, half like sweating, and then you're super anxious, and then your date's like, whoa, like, like, are you sure you want to be here? So those are some things that was a lot to talk about, but you want to be relaxed. You want to be prepared. You want to know what outfit you're wearing. You want to take care of all those things. My husband says to me, if you want to help Nalia get ready for school, we have a 3-year-old, like, he already knows what she's wearing and it's on the bed, like her panties, her socks, her total outfit. And she gets to choose between one or two, because now she's fully grown up and she can dress herself. And she gets upset if we try to pick her clothes. There you go. If you're getting ready for a date and you're coming after work or whatever the situation is, have your outfit ready, have your change of shoes ready, have your, sweater, your phone, your money, all of those things ready so that you can really just be out the door. Everything's checked and you can be there on your date with a smile and no stress.
I love that. And the mantra for photo reading is relax, relax, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the
there you go.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. Okay. The next one, number 2, is we have this thing called preview. And with the preview, you're previewing the book for 90 seconds, so a minute and a half. And this is where you're getting an overview. Is this the book for me? Will it meet my intention? Will it meet my purpose? So in terms of going into a dating scenario, let's say people are looking at profiles. They're having an overview of the prospective dates, who you might be able to choose from. What are some of the key things you would suggest people look at and research before they decide even which date they want to go on?
Anytime you're going on a date with someone and you're now thinking of getting out of your house, or in today's day and age, getting camera ready, right? Because even if you're at home and you're in self-isolation, or you're, at home, sheltering in place, and you're planning for a video date, you still want to make sure that your key compatibilities are met. So in many dating sites or dating apps, a question is, what is the relationship goal? So you can see whether or not this person is are they in both the casual encounter category and long-term relationship? Because guess what? There are people that do both. And there are sometimes people that just strictly state, I'm here for casual encounters, or I'm here for just long-term relationships. So you want to make sure those are aligned. The other things that are super important is, of course, if you have children and you don't want to have children, or if you don't have children and you want to have children, there are certain key life values and relationship goals that are immediate that would be a deal breaker. So you're looking for anything on the dating profile that would, go against any deal breaker that you might have. Maybe your deal breaker is a smoker and this person indicates that they're a social smoker. So is there a point? You think that they're cute? You think they're attractive? Well, no, there's no point, because the person isn't aligned with you on a major value, right? So that's another thing to look at. And then the other thing that you want to look at is what are the photos that this person has posted? What do they say about the individual? Can you get a sense for their personality? Are you able to see whether or not in their facial expression? Sometimes I see people, I try not to judge photos because a lot of people are really bad at choosing their photos online. So I take those things with a bit of a grain of salt. But if every photo, the person's got a mugshot and they're not smiling, and if you're this person that's posting it, well, it's not very inviting for someone to want to approach you or message you when every picture, you've got a grumpy face. Or if every photo, you're always with a group of people and you can't tell, like, it's group photo after group photo. Am I dating your crew? Like, what is this? You want to be displaying photos of yourself. And that's the other thing is some people who like to travel, they like to show all the places they've traveled. And they're like this little speck in the photo way back where like that salt and pepper shaker, like that's them. And then their background. Oh, look at Paris. I'm not interested in Paris. I'm interested in you. So that's the other thing that you want to take a look at is make sure that you're not hiding behind a hat or sunglasses or anything of that nature, because when people look at that and you're trying to hide something, or you're trying to hide your body type, or you're trying to hide your figure, it's a giveaway. People can tell that you're not comfortable with something. So be sure that you are there's no surprises when they meet you in person, right? Don't just give them like a little picture of you and then surprise them in person. This is me. Show them what they're getting in advance.
I love that. And a couple of things you said really resonate. With the photo reading, we talk about trigger words, and that's the things that are standing out: the smoker, the casual, etc. And also one of the reasons we do a preview is that your brain then gets familiar with the territory, so there are no surprises when you're flicking through the book, because it all just flows. So I love that. Thank you.
Yes.
Right. Number three is, so there's a step in photo reading, which is called photo reading, and we're photo reading at 25,000 words a minute. So it takes about 5 minutes to photo read like the whole book from start to finish. And we're basically doing a data download, and you're doing that with the pages, and you're taking in the whole landscape. So from a dating perspective, when you're actually on the date, what sort of things would you, because I know people might be in the heat at the moment, they might be nervous or they're excited, or they've got what we call here beer goggles, where your senses just go out of the window. So what should people be paying attention to when you're on the date and you've got all of this data coming at you?
I think what's important to pay attention to is the person in front of you. A lot of singles who are nervous will have a distraction. And of course, this should never be anywhere near the date or on the date. Like your phone shouldn't even be on the table, really. So particularly when you're on a date and all the focus is them. The other thing you don't want to be focused on is any of the other people around you. I've seen that where somebody's on a date, even if you're not interested, it's rude to be looking, wish I was on a date with that person over there. That's a no-no. Okay. But you want to pay attention to their body language. That's an easy one. You want to pay attention to their eye contact. Is this somebody who makes easy eye contact? If they're nervous, that's one thing. But you can also pay attention to your own body language. Are your arms crossed? Are you looking away? Are your shoulders pointed elsewhere? Are you giving off a gentle and warm and friendly demeanor? Or are you also nervous? So I think it's not just about managing the other person, but managing your own behavior, managing your own, like, the pace at what you're talking, are you nervous? Are you speaking too quickly? Are you not speaking enough? There should always be a dialogue where there is back and forth. And if there's silence, I strongly recommend that everybody has questions that they know to ask or that they'd like to ask, so that whenever there's a lull, you also aren't faced with just pure silence, right? Like, you should be really, your attention is focused on the person in front of you. In an inquiry, you're inquiring about their life, about their interests, looking for compatibility, finding out whether or not you both share similar values, similar taste in food or coffee or whatever activity you're up to. This is the purpose of the first date, is to determine chemistry and to see if you are aligned on those important values. But first date is not the time to interrogate, to conduct an interview, to ask them, what car do you drive? How much money do you have in the bank? Where is your 401k? Like, you don't want to get into all those things. You want to just get a real sense of who they are and keep things pretty light and airy.
I love that. And we have a piece in this step, which I call mind probing, where you start to formulate good questions. And so I love that. Absolutely. And coming prepared, definitely one of those. Brilliant. I love it. Our next one, number 4, is this thing that we call a post view. So after we've photo read all of the information, we've done our 5 minutes from start to finish, what we want to do now is we want to do an assessment. And the way we phrase it is this book, this document, this PDF, whatever it is, you can photo read online and offline, a bit like your online dating and offline dating. Is the book a go or a no-go in terms of, are we willing, having spent about 5 or 6 minutes with the book, because that's how long it takes, are we willing to put more time, energy, attention into this? Or do we go, actually, do you know what? This isn't the right book. I'm going to put that one down. I'm going to get another one. So in terms of the go or no go, what things would you say should help determine whether somebody is going to go on a second date?
Well, determining whether somebody goes on a second date has a lot to do with what you've discovered about the key areas of compatibility where you are in alignment, right? Sometimes you'll, in certain profiles, one doesn't always write everything, or their profile could be sparse. You know enough that, you like their physical look, enough to be curious about them to meet. There are things on the profile that you think, okay, that's a match, but I'm not necessarily sure what he does for a living, or I'm not sure, what the relationship is like with his family, if that's something that's important. So if you go on the date to discover that, he's got, he or she is not over a partner yet, maybe they're in a difficult period in their life, dealing with, challenges with whether it's work or X, or just things that can be a little bit messy, and they're not really in the same page as you, that would be an opportunity to realize that, maybe it's not time to read this book, right? This book has to go back on the shelf. This book isn't even ready to be produced yet, to be read, but they're putting themselves in the market. Like, that's not a good idea. So you want to be able to be fully expressed. And this is a challenge for a lot of singles in not only receiving rejection, like be on the end where somebody's not interested in you. It's never fun. And the second part, it's not fun when you're the one who has to tell somebody you're not that into them as well. So it's not nice on either side. However, we're adults. The purpose of going out and meeting is to determine if there's compatibility. And you can simply state, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your time. I don't see it as a fit for me for this reason. Like, there's not enough chemistry for me to develop, or I think you're very nice, but I don't think that we're fully aligned. Wish you best of luck, whatever that is. So those are the things that you're looking at. The interest on the other person, the alignment on the compatibility of things that matter. And as well, sometimes it's very difficult for people to know whether or not the person likes you or not. So if you're looking If you're confused, I would ask the feedback right there. So Marilyn, I really enjoyed our time. How did you feel about our time together? What's your thoughts about a potential connection or the opportunity to see each other again? Is that something you're open to, or is it a pass for you? Like, whatever it is that you want to say that says it's okay either way. Like, we both invested time. We're either going to go on a second date or we're not. And be okay with it. Be okay with the outcome. Don't be attached to what that's going to look like.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And that whole thing about, just saying, being clear. And I always say, look, it's not about the author. You're not rejecting the author. You're just saying, in terms of my purpose, this book is not going to deliver what I'm looking for. But it's no slight on the book. It doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's just not the book for you. So I love the way you describe that.
Exactly.
Brilliant. And then our fifth step is the whole thing about, okay, we've done that now. We've been on the date. Activation. If you decide, so the activation step is almost what I call the data mining, where you're now going to go in more detail and you're going to start to pull out the information that you want. And it's so weird when I say to people about the books, I say, look, when you start and you do your preview, it's a handshake with the author. We don't want their whole life history. So you described it in exactly the same way. Now we're at this stage. We actually do want some more detail. We want to start pulling information from this and getting the most from the book. So what would you say for people who have found a match? What are some of the things you can do to now really grow that relationship and make the most of it?
Any relationship, if we're going to consider it a plant, okay, and you want it to grow, what do you have to do? You have to water the plant. You have to give it love. You've got to talk to the plant. So you're communicating, like, the relationship is based on the effort. Like, the success of the relationship is really based on the effort that you put into that relationship. And it's also the quality of time and energy that you're putting into that relationship. It's not just, countless hours or X number of minutes. It's really the conversations. Are they meaningful conversations? Are they, how is your day conversations? Versus, there's something you can Google called the 36 questions that lead to love. It was printed in the New York Times. I forget how long ago, but when it came out, it was like a proven scientific, I guess, a study saying that when you engage in conversation, meaningful conversation with someone of interest, particularly romantic interest or friendship, when you get on that level that's deeper than just surface, you now can create this bond. So in order to bond with a partner and develop a relationship, you've got to continuously be interested in what they're up to, not just the surface things. What makes them happy? What makes them tick? What aggravates them? What can you do to add to not their aggravation? What can you do to avoid the aggravation, right? And what can you do to be in service of that relationship and to be in service of your partner? That is the best way to feed that relationship. If a lot of people, even during the pandemic, and I've been taking so many calls, I just got a call the other day from somebody who was very, very distraught because her partner ended her relationship with no reason. I mean, at least at this point in time, she's not thinking there's a reason, right? And all relationships that end, for whatever the case is, there is some miscommunication or some disagreement or something not aligned, right? And when we are in a relationship and we're not asking about those alignments, or we might be making assumptions that everything's going great. It happens a lot. A lot of times people who come to me have come to me because a relationship has ended and not because they wanted it to end. And the one thing we can't do, we cannot control what a person does. I mean, we'd like to, but I mean, we can't always do that, right? So to make the most of your relationship, I think you just really have to be authentically curious about the other person and what they're doing, what makes them happy. How can you assist? How can you stay out of their way if they want you to stay out of their way? Like, just be that person that they feel comfortable with, that, most relationships that last a long time, they consider their partner as their best friend. and lover. You got to get the best friend and lover there. Otherwise, you're just friends, right? You don't want to just be friends. It's the friendship and the intimacy that leads to that connection. So what are you doing in your relationship that will create stronger bonds and form deeper intimacy with your partner?
I love that. And the way I describe the activation step is about creating deeper neurological connections. So
Yes.
again, it is that. And every time you run those pathways, you get more engaged, you get more connected. So I absolutely
Well,
love
you're building memories, right? And if you have a lot of relationships that end have negative memories. So when they look at the relationship and they're attaching it to a bunch of negative memories, well, guess what? Nobody wants to be in that relationship. But if you are in a relationship where you have a lot of positive memories, well, it's difficult to leave a relationship where you've got positive memories, because then that's one you don't want to walk away from. But having a lot of negative memories would be a relationship that you would be easy to walk away from.
Absolutely. Now we've got about 2 minutes left. So this will be a really quick fire one. There's a bonus thing that I do at the end of the photo reading, which is something called Huna, Huna, and it's the belief change session. Because one of the things I've realized, reading at 25,000 words a minute and photo reading a whole book in 5 minutes is actually pretty straightforward. What gets in the way is people's beliefs.
Okay.
Past experiences. I'm a slow reader, I've got dyslexia, whatever it might be. They might have been embarrassed when they had to read at school in public, or they just got negative emotions attached to that. So if you were thinking about relationships, what are one or two of the biggest saboteurs from the 65,000 people that you've interviewed that you say, look, if you handle this and handle that, this is going to make the pathway easier?
The biggest saboteur of any relationship are the limiting beliefs of the single person to their love life. So when you have somebody who just from the beginning is doubtful of themselves being in a relationship, even the best relationship, when it shows up, their actions, their beliefs dictate their actions. So they do things that will sabotage that relationship, or they become anxious, or they question good behavior, and they think they're always something's wrong, something like they're in that panic mode that, oh, it can't be good, it's too good to be true. So that's one thing. The other massive saboteur is a lack of it's almost hand in hand, like a lack of confidence and insecurity. So when you talked about triggers. Sometimes when you read a story or you watch a movie, there's familiarity in that movie. I've seen this movie before. I've watched this kind of horror or whatever. It reminds you of this movie in the past. Well, guess what? Almost every new person you meet, there could be a trigger, a saying, a mannerism, or something that reminds you of somebody from your past. And then when that behavior or comment or even that piece of clothing, oh, my ex-husband used to do that, thing, or he used to pick his teeth at the table. Oh my God, that's whatever. Oh my God, another toilet seat open up. I can't deal with it. And now the person is upset, not for that isolated scenario, but it's because, oh, they must be exactly like so-and-so. Are we not dealing with that? It's kind of like relationship racism. Okay. Like they've had an experience before that the person does something and instantly they've just put that person in that bucket that the other person did. And then the poor person's like, what did I do? I don't know what I did. They're in the doghouse. They don't even know why they're in the doghouse. It's because of something in the past. And I've had to coach so many clients many, many times where one is upset at the other and they're like, I don't know what I did. And then I discover that the person's, well, my ex used to do this or that. And that was the real issue. And then just reminding them, well, that person's not your ex. And this is an isolated scenario. And you've got to think of what's real and what's made up. Like, is that really true? Did you ask him? Like, get the clarity. So those are the two things that really stop people.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. And I'm just looking at one of the slides I prepared. I didn't do an about me bit, but the reason I've got a broken heart on there is when I first came into the world, because I've been a coach and therapist for 20 years, I was a relationship coach for 9 years. The reason being, I'd contemplated suicide in my 30s when a relationship broke up.
Sure.
And then found that, therapy, etc., helped me. And I thought, man, if I can do this, I'm going to help other people. And that was the biggest thing, is people having a trigger that reminded them. And the way I used to describe it is people turn up with their Louis Vuitton truck of baggage and dump it into the next relationship. So, that was an interesting one. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Now, I know you're going to have to rush off and do your next thing. Any closing words, anything you wanted to share before you go? And then I've got a slide. If you need to go, I'll do the contact details for you with your website, etc. But is there anything you wanted to add?
I think, Marilyn, first of all, thank you for having me on here on your platform to talk about relationships. I think relationships are certainly at the forefront of many discussions. It is also a point, a source of pain, and it's a source of pleasure. Relationships are the source of both things. You get pain and pleasure from relationships. So I just encourage your listeners to continue to, speak to people about their feelings, about their emotions, get professional help when you need to. It's okay. You'll understand that so many people are like you and dealing with similar things. When I was young, like yourself, Marilyn, and I thought, oh, this relationship when I was 19 and he was everything. And when he broke up with me, I was like you, I contemplated suicide. Oh my goodness. And to think we put that much, like some of us have put that much weight and that much of our value on what someone else thinks of us. Because guess what? Relationships will fail. That if anything is true, as they say, the death and taxes, right? Those are imminent. Well, relationships, sometimes they do fail. Even the ones that we don't want to fail, they fail. So it's really about how can we learn from that situation and how can we, evolve and become more resilient after that. And I'm happy to help your audience. We've helped each other. They can reach out to me if they've got burning dating questions. And of course, I have a singles network. So if you're single and you want to be part of my singles network, please do reach me at carmeliaray.com. And Marilyn, thank you for having me. So that's all I want to say is just to keep talking. Don't be silent. If you need support, get support. And there's plenty of coaches like myself and like you, Marilyn, that can help people.
That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you for joining
You're
me.
welcome.
It's been incredible to have you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to talk people through your contact details, remind them of where they can get. So you can head off and go to your next appointment. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was amazing. So if you want to get hold of Carmelia Ray, her email is carmeliaray@gmail.com. Her website is www.carmeliaray, CarmeliaRay. Her Facebook is Carmelia Ray Coaching. That's her main Facebook page. I'm not sure about how, she's going to be answering the phone when she's doing all of this coaching, but it's 905-488-1993. She's in Ontario, Canada, and her social media is /Carmelia Ray. So that's how you can kind of get hold of her and get further details and information. Keep tabs also in terms of, next series of interviews, the things that I'm doing. My email is Marilyn, Marilyn, @transformationstm.com. Trance is TRANCE, F for Freddie, FROMATIONSTM.com. So transformationstm.com. That's also the website address if you've got any further questions or queries. And it has just been my absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for the comments as well, but I've really enjoyed it. And Carmelia, I love her strapline. I work with single entrepreneurs and business owners to find love online and offline. So I hope that you have found this session useful. The next piece I've got coming up is going to be a webinar about remote and flexible working. So for those of you who follow me, you'll know that I write a lot in the press nowadays about smart working, remote working, flexible working. So I'm going to be doing a webinar on that because the new book has just come out today. And you know, one of the things I do when I'm not doing the coaching and therapy is working as a flexible working implementation consultant. So it's been really interesting to see how the world has been evolving. So that's the next thing that I'm going to be running. So if you want to take part in that, the thing I'm going to be doing is you purchase the new book, send me a screenshot of your purchase, and then you can be invited to the webinar free of charge. And I'm going to take you through the chapter that I've contributed to that book. And if you wanted kind of any further information about any of the things that I do in terms of the coaching and therapy side of things, then also feel free to get in touch. And as I was saying to Carmelia just now, I was studying to be a chartered accountant, had a really bad relationship breakup. My partner had had an affair. I had contemplated suicide at that point, and it just coincided with personal development, which I really wasn't interested in that at all. Was not my world, was not my thing, to the point I actually tried to get my money back. I thought I'd signed up for a communication skills course, and thankfully, as they say, the rest is history. So I've been a coach and therapist for the past 20 years and qualified in about 20 different modalities. Started off as a trainer of NLP and hypnosis and timeline therapy, and over the years have added a vast array of modalities to that. So, you know, feel free to get in touch about that as well. But thank you for joining me. I will catch you all later. And thank you again, Carmelia Ray, for your time, for your wonderful energy, and for those incredible photo reading meets dating tips. Bye-bye.